October 3rd, 2009, Combat Outpost COP Keating faced a devastating ambush. Over 300 Taliban fighters launched a fierce and coordinated attack, striking from all directions with a relentless barrage of bullets, rockets, and mortars. The 54 American soldiers stationed there found themselves under siege, their outpost deteriorating on the brink of collapse. Amidst the chaos, these brave troops stood their ground, fighting with everything they had, repelling wave after wave of insurgents with extraordinary courage and determination. This is a story about COP Keating. Combat Outpost COP Keating was located in the Kamdesh district of the Nuristan province in eastern Afghanistan. The outpost was positioned in a remote and mountainous area near the border with Pakistan, making it highly challenging to defend. The specific location of COP Keating, in a valley surrounded by steep mountains, created significant tactical disadvantages. The terrain provided the Taliban with elevated positions from which they could launch attacks, giving them a clear line of sight into the outpost and making it difficult for the defenders to spot the incoming threats and effectively return fire. The outpost was part of a broader counterinsurgency strategy aimed at extending the Afghan government's persistence and influence into remote and insurgent-dominated regions. By positioning forces in these areas, the US military and its allies sought to disrupt Taliban supply lines and reduce the ability to operate freely. The presence of the coalition forces in the Kamdesh district was also intended to support efforts to win the heart and minds of the local population by providing security and by facilitating development projects. However, the location of COP Keating was always a point of contention. Its isolation made it difficult to resupply and reinforce, especially under attack. The terrain made it nearly impossible to establish a secure perimeter, and the surrounding mountains provided ample cover and concealment for the Taliban fighters. This strategic disadvantage was known to the military planners, but the outpost remained operational as a part of the broader efforts to stabilize the region. Before the significant attack on October 3rd, 2009, COP Keating was regularly harassed by smaller Taliban forces. These smaller skirmishes were part of the Taliban's broader strategy to wear down the outpost defense and gather intelligence on their defenses. The soldiers at COP Keating frequently faced mortar fire, rocket-propelled grenade attacks, and small arms fire from the insurgents, who would quickly retreat into the rugged terrain after launching their assaults. These constant attacks created an atmosphere of persistent tension, as the soldiers had to remain on high alert and ready to respond at any moment. The regular harassment by small forces served multiple purposes for the Taliban. It allowed them to test the outpost defenses, learn the routines and response patterns of the US, and keep the defenders in a constant state of stress and fatigue. This relentless pressure set the stage for the larger, more coordinated assault that would come later. The major attack on the outpost on October 3rd, 2009 was meticulously planned and executed by the Taliban. In the early morning hours, more than 300 Taliban fighters launched a massive and coordinated assault on COP Keating. The attackers came from multiple directions, exploiting the outpost's vulnerable positions in the valley. They used heavy weapons, including mortars and RPGs, to overwhelm their defenders. The initial barrage of fire was intense, quickly breaching the perimeter's defenses and setting several buildings within the outpost ablaze. The US soldiers, along with 2 Latvian soldiers and Afghan National Army troops, found themselves outnumbered and outgunned. Despite the overwhelming odds, they fought back fiercely, engaging in intense close-quarter combat to repel the attackers. The military's response to the attack was immediate. Recognizing the severity of the situation, Command quickly coordinated close air support to aid the almost overrun outpost. Attack helicopters, including Apache gunships, were dispatched to provide crucial firepower. These helicopters played a vital role in targeting the Taliban's positions and slowing the momentum of the assault. Additionally, fixed-wing aircraft delivered precision strikes against insurgents, helping to neutralize heavy weapon positions and regrouping Taliban fighters. Throughout the day, defenders at COP Keating relied on their training and discipline to repel waves of attackers. They moved between defense positions, often engaging in close-quarter combat to prevent the Taliban from overrunning the outpost. Despite the chaos and danger, the soldiers maintained effective communication with each other and with command elements, ensuring that their efforts were coordinated and that the air support was effective. Reinforcements were mobilized to assist the embattled outpost. Quick reaction forces from nearby bases were alerted and prepared to move. But the remote location of COP Keating made immediate ground reinforcements challenging. With the air support and determined defense by the soldiers on the ground would gradually begin to turn the tide. The response also involved medical evacuation operations to tend to the wounded. Despite the ongoing fierce firefight, medics and the fellow soldiers risked their lives to provide first aid and evacuate the injured to safety. These efforts were critical in saving lives and maintaining the fighting strength of the defenders. The battle resulted in the death of 8 US soldiers and injured 27 others, making it one of the deadliest days for US forces in Afghanistan. The attackers also suffered significant casualties, with an estimated 150 Taliban fighters killed. The extraordinary heroism displayed by the defenders during the Battle of Kamdesh led to several soldiers receiving high military honors, including the Medal of Honor from Staff Sergeant Clinton Romesha and Specialist T.Y. Carter. Relocating COP Keating to a more defensible position earlier could have saved many lives and potentially avoided the devastating attack. A better location would have provided a more secure perimeter, reduced the enemy's advantage from elevated positions, and facilitated quicker and more effective resupply and reinforce operations. The lessons learned from the Battle of Kamdesh led to significant changes in how outposts were positioned and defended in Afghanistan. The vulnerabilities of COP Keating and the tragic losses of life during the battle prompted military planners to prioritize the safety and defensibility of the outposts, ensuring that the future positions did not repeat the same strategic mistakes.